Yes, guys. Hello. Welcome to the SpursRelated channel. I hope you're all doing well. And back-to-back videos for you guys today. We're joined by some special guests, rant and rave about the transfer window. Without further ado, we've got Andre, as always, our news specialist. Andre, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
All good, man. Apart from, well, we're discussing it in a minute. Let's save the rant. Let's save it. Right. And none other than go left to right, the man, the myth, the legend, the Irish fan, number one Harry Kane fan, is it? Number one Ireland fan.
Yeah, Ireland's biggest legend. I mean, look, there's many lines you could put onto that, but look, just call me King Irish for the day. That'll do. That's my nickname for today, to be honest with you. But look, you know, no matter what's going on with the transfer window, I still love Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the day.
I love it, mate. Love it. You got to keep the faith. You got to keep the faith. And of course, the man from the other side of the pond, Jack Kineke, flat cap Euro talk. How you doing, my man?
Doing all right. You know, kind of was waiting for something to happen in the transfer market today, so I decided to just go on a bit of a run, kind of trying to get back in shape. So it's kind of a Tanguy and Dembele kind of run I told you guys before, which is pretty much for the viewers, not very far and not very hard. Which, you know, I feel quite rewarded with. You know, probably would love 200K with the distance I ran today.
do you think you've beaten Ndombele's time at least?
It was like I said, you know, to you guys in the back end, it was extremely cold and like well below freezing. And I'd like to think, you know, I probably wouldn't be bundled up in so many layers. I did kind of rock the big hoodie and kind of the you know, the headband kind of warmer and everything like Tanguy would, but I feel like I probably would have beat his time of probably, you know, less. What's a good 5K time? I wouldn't know.
Jack, you should have tracked your time, lad, and posted it to Ndombele on Twitter as a challenge.
Exactly.
The Ndombele challenge.
Yeah, a few stops at the Burger King on the way. You know, it's a pretty long route.
See who gets to Ndombele's house quicker, Jack or the Uber Eats.
Yeah, I felt like Tanguy. You know, the way I run sometimes. I think he and I have similar, really lazy running form. I think is where I get it from.
Fantastic, Jack. I'm 100% sure you beat his time. But anyway, guys, we've got a few of you in here. Really appreciate the support so far, and big yourselves up. Paul Markey's in here, says Ndombele won't bother his ass to put 90 minutes in, turning down load moves. Why don't we just fire him for non-performance? And a few of us let it go to court.
To court?
Wow, that is strong words to start things off. I mean, Dave, you were putting your thumbs up to that one. I think, why not?
Look, I've been saying this for a long time. Look, you know, I say isolate them, you know, send them down to train with the under-23s. Don't let them in around the training ground when the first team are in around them. Let them know that they have to earn it. But people tell me you can't do that these days. It's too mean. It's this, that, and the other. Well, I tell you what's mean. This guy taking 200K a week, being our most expensive transfer, and me as a hardcore fan, and like everyone else out there, having to sit there and watch some of the shit he's put in, trawling off the pitch after Morecambe 1-0 down, which could have been an embarrassing defeat. The guy's finished. Do what I said originally. Now people are coming around to my way of thinking. I do like that. Just isolate the fucker. I don't care. I guarantee you'll find a way out of here if he wants it.
Yeah, spot on. And the annoying thing is, it's not even like he's a cheap on the wage bill. He's 200K a week. You're spot on, Dave. It's just an absolute disgrace. The guy sweats after 5 minutes on the pitch. I mean, honestly, I put all of us together. I reckon we could run further than him without breaking a sweat. You know, Dave, when you go to get your chocolate at 10 p.m, mate, I reckon you can run to the shop faster than him. But without going off on one, Anthony Lopez is in here from Facebook. He says, Levy out. I'm sure your thoughts are echoed, my man. Kenneth, Tottenham Hotspur, says, big up, lads, big up, Spurs. Big yourself up, mate.
Kenneth.
Big up, Kenneth. I like Kenneth.
Top man, thanks for coming over.
You're a good man.
Legend. Big up, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you flat cap army. Came the long shot. Not too hard, not too long. Jack makes stop talking. And William Kelly's in here. He says, thanks, Doug Leave. Big yourself up, William. Another one. So we aren't bringing someone in new. You know, you're probably more likely to say probably not, and maybe one or two. But, you know, I thought of it earlier, right? We've got less than 100 hours left of this window. I mean, just put it in that perspective. Like, it's unbelievable how slow it all is. And, it's just, Jack, where are we going with this? Like, do you think we will sign one or two players?
it seems like we've really like slowly, kind of, whatever the opposite of progression is, in terms of what our assureds were. The moment we signed Conte, we kind of probably all unanimously agreed there's no way Levy doesn't back Conte. He has to back Conte right away. There must be something in some sort of war chest somewhere, to back him. We kind of went back from there and realized maybe there isn't a war chest, for him to deal with. But we'll still spend the money, to back Conte. Now we're 27 days in, questioning whether they'll even put in a signing at all for Antonio Conte. So I would say all of my kind of like conventional wisdom when it came to Levy and what he actually would do, it's all gone out the window. Honestly, might be one signing, and I think it's going to be Sofiane Amrabat. But I honestly can't promise two at this rate because like I said before, everything was just kind of, declined in terms of my expectations of what Levy would actually do for Conte.
You're spot on, and that's the thing. When Conte came in November, we were all thinking the guy's going to be
We all agreed
backed.
with each other he would be backed. We all thought it would be stupid not to. There's no way he would be that daft. And now we're kind of realizing like, oh, maybe he'll do it in the summer. Like we're coming up with all these sort of kind of like we just kind of declined from our original expectations of where we would be at the end of this window, and that's kind of the scary thing.
Exactly. It's like we turned a corner on the whole Levy out thing. Maybe Levy's finally back in this club, and Kineke, of course, as well.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we get to the 27th of January with 4 days remaining. We've signed 0 players. We've been linked to about 16, and we haven't signed any of them. And it's like that's what's the frustrating thing. There was talks about like 100 million in January. There was talks of a couple of 100 million in the summer. I don't see any of that. I really don't. And the fact that ADAMA Traore has gone to Barcelona for 25 million with an obligation, a loan to buy, which we're specialists at, and we haven't managed to fork up another few million, it's unbelievable. But we'll get onto the ADAMA situation in a minute. Andre, I'll come over to you. I know you've just done the research. You've just done the, look into the news reporters. What are the latest in terms of the transfer situation?
So, yeah, as you heard, ADAMA, he's gone. We're not getting him. I question whether or not how much it might have been a Conte signing versus a Paratici signing, because he was linked to us before Conte came, right? So maybe they're going to take that money somewhere else, maybe Luis Diaz, which is what they're hoping. They're prepping another bid. At the moment, it was rejected, as you guys saw yesterday. And Dombele, I'm not sure. Is he still training by himself based on that report from a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
He is, right? So, yeah. So at the moment, PSG and Tottenham, they're still working on that buy option, right? They want to see the valuation. What do you guys think actually would be a good valuation for him to be bought?
I think if it's PSG, they probably might ask, 30 million, 35 million?
If we get 30 million for him, I will do a lap of my
It's
street.
half of his original fee. Maybe is probably what they want to maybe aim for, at least just maybe half of the original fee.
But I get that, Jack. But do you think, like for example, you compare it with Lo Celso when we bought him? Do you think we're going to get half the value for him? I would say no as well.
Well, in comparison to Lo Celso, my thing with Lo Celso versus Tanguy is kind of like with Tanguy is that you actually know that there is skill with the player. It's just like who actually taps into it and who actually gets, the lazy fucker to actually, play for you. But with Gio, you kind of think about it as, does the guy actually have, the skills that, we think, we were told are there. I think with Tanguy, we know the skills are there, but like who's going to actually tap into it? And then with Gio, it's kind of like, not really sure, what actually player there is, in that sort of guy. So
I'm sure we got his doppelganger in the deal. I'm sure he's playing somewhere else, the real Gio Lo Celso that plays for Argentina and played amazing at Betis and is even decent at PSG. And we've suddenly got this doppelganger that doesn't actually know how to, clear the first man from a corner, doesn't know how to clear the wall from a free kick, doesn't know how to pass the ball properly. The guy, the list goes on. The guy literally is a fraud. And without
so
going off on
Tanguy, I feel like, let's say he plays super well. And to be fair, actually, like PSG, you kind of think about it, really toxic player, really toxic dressing room. It actually sounds like a beautiful match made in heaven. For them, it sounds like he's going to fit right in with all those kind of sort of characters. They all show up late to training. They all kind of just do whatever they want at that sort of club, even with Poch there. So I feel like he'll probably kind of enjoy it probably to a degree. He has a lot of buddies on the team, I believe, with Mbappe, at least for the time being. think he probably might enjoy it. Let's say he plays super well there, kind of progresses them in some sort of Champions League, kind of maybe fixture of some kind. Maybe 30 million doesn't seem like too much for them.
30 million, yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you remember the documentary as well, his two boys, they're gone. Ori, Sissoko, right? So, I mean, it makes sense. He probably wants to head out. Tottenham do want 100% of those wages being paid. So PSG would be the club to do it. I can see him going. The other one that was being reported that Tottenham are confident will be able to get him out. But confident is a very loose term because they were confident about Traore too. So, but Dele Alli also being loaned out, 100% of his wages being paid. He's linked with Southampton, Everton, Brighton, and Newcastle. But I feel like Newcastle would be the club to do it as well because his wages are pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of tough to see him go to one of those really small clubs where then all of a sudden he'd be one of the highest paid players in the entire team.
He'd almost be an easy target though, because if say he goes to Newcastle and he goes on whatever it would be 150, 180k a week, right? And he performs poorly, those Newcastle fans aren't gonna, back him. They're going to be like, well, they're using a lot of our wages. To say that the club is absolutely minted. Maybe that's not a good example. But my point is, if he's one of the highest paid players,
you would think that would be bad for them when you think about it.
Exactly, and they're not going to go, well, we're waiting on this player that was good 5 years ago. They're going to be like, well, they're sucking up our wages. Why have we got this guy in? So I honestly can't see him getting sold. That's my opinion. I don't think there's been strong enough rumours and sources that are saying he's going to go. There's a lot of talks about Everton, Southampton, Newcastle, but I've not seen any bids go through.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume it would also be a loan with an option to buy. I'm not sure. What would you guys think would be the ideal valuation for him there? We did only pay 5 million, so I mean, this is one where we would make some money.
I think Dave needs to answer this question.
Look, no club's going to come in and buy Dele Alli this January transfer window. If he goes out, it will be with a loan, with an option to buy, not an obligation to buy. But the reason why you haven't really seen any proper incomings at Tottenham yet is, and I've said this a number of times, we're not doing any business until that Ndombele to PSG deal is done. Valencia are always are also in there looking to maybe try and get Ndombele over there, but we will not do any business until Ndombele goes. And I know it's wrong. I don't agree with it, but it's the way the club are operating. Until they can free up the wages, they're not bringing anyone else in here. This transfer window, we get Ndombele out, you'll probably see, I reckon you'll see the Diaz deal being done. You get the Celso or Dele Alli out, I reckon that's when the Sofran Amrabat deal will happen. But until we offload, Dele's on over 100k a week, the Celso's probably on over 100k a week, and Ndombele's on 200k a week. So you're talking about 500k a week right away there. That has to be offloaded before we get anyone else. And like I said, I don't agree with it, but it's the way the club are operating in this window.
No, I think you're right. The thing is, though, I'm pretty sure that Sofyan Amrabat, that is ready to go. Like, the player is ready to go, and the deal would be a loan with a 16 million buy option. So
no, it's ready to go, but until we get rid of Ndombele, Ali, or Lo Celso, that's not happening.
Maybe because Tanguy is a foreign kind of, he's not on the homegrown list, so maybe they have to get out a homegrown player of some sort, or a non-homegrown player.
It could be. But definitely you are right. That is one of the key pieces here as to why Tottenham is sort of scrambling to get this done, because until at least one player leaves, no one's coming in. But the Amrabat deal is ready to go, and the player is ready to go. Luis Diaz is also prepared to come to Tottenham, but of course that valuation is way off compared to what FC Porto value him as, which is somewhere close to 60 from what I saw.
Andre, you say it's way off, but I've heard today, and I don't know if it's true, you're more on the news than me, that we're £4 million off getting Luis Diaz. Is this true?
I have not heard that. It was just the one bid that was rejected that was pretty off by like 25 million, if I'm correct here. Okay. But they are prepping a new one, and I think the reason we really dropped out of that Traore deal, I hope, is because that money is going to go to Luis Diaz. I think Conte has a say there. I think both Amrabat and Luis Diaz are Conte signings, also mixed in with Paratici. So
yeah, and there's also talks that Adama wasn't convinced on playing right wing back. He wanted to continue as a right winger. Do you see that as a reason, Dave?
No, not really. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we didn't. It's been reported that we never actually put in a bid for this guy. Never actually put in a bid. So I'm thinking we were looking to do Traore, but with other things in play here, Liverpool are hotly after this Diaz guy, and a lot of top clubs around Europe, a lot of the European giants will be joining that race in the summer. And I reckon that's why Spurs are trying to get this deal done this January in order to beat the Cuba clubs and in order to avoid a bit more in the summer. Because you look at this Luis Diaz one, it doesn't make sense. It's not the positions we need strengthening in. And that's why I think this is one they've earmarked for the future, one that they really do want to get in, and in order to avoid the bid more and avoid, because once Liverpool come in, there will be other clubs. Once they start coming in, he's not coming to Tottenham. And I think that's why we're trying to act this window, where maybe some of them other clubs maybe don't have maybe that much to maneuver to be able to act in this window. And I think that's why you're going to see this one. That's why I think you'll see this one probably. That's why it's panning out the way it is. But with Traore, I mean, I'll be honest, you paid the 20 million, he was coming to Tottenham Hotspur. You paid the 20 million when they wanted it. You don't even give Barcelona a chance to even enter the race. There's no one else in for him. He comes to Tottenham Hotspur. It's that simple. But what I will say is maybe we have held out on the Traore one because this Diaz one could maybe come into fruition. And maybe that rumour about us being 4 million off, as far as I'm aware, Spurs haven't actually put in a second, or actually haven't come back with another offer yet since the last one was rejected. And I reckon that 4 million rumour is probably Spurs will go back with 4 million less than what they actually want.
Yeah.
They'll never actually give what they want, will they?
No. Well, it's Levy. He's the biggest hard bargainer in the world. But Dave, just to go with your point, there's an interesting point here from Sulka in the chat. And he says, like it or lump it, we're not the same draw as Barca to any team, to any player, sorry. So what that point means is, Barca are always going to be a bigger attraction, even though they're struggling financially. Do you still think that is the case? Or do you think if Spurs put in an extra 4 million or whatever it was that we needed to get ADAMA Traore, it would have happened, he would have come?
I mean, look, Barca weren't interested up until recently. If we put in what Wolves were asking for originally, you wouldn't have even given Barca any chance to kind of maneuver their accounts around to be able to make this deal happen. Look, when it comes to Barca and Spurs, what I will say, Traore was always going to head back to Barcelona. He was there as a youth prospect in the academy growing up. So if it came to Barcelona and Spurs, he was always going to go there naturally anyway. Maybe still now Barcelona might have that still have that pull, but if they keep declining the way they have done, that may not be the case in the future with the stadium and everything else we have to offer. But yeah, just when it comes to Traore, if it was Barcelona or Spurs, he was always heading there because he was there as a
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
I'm on fire tonight, lad.
You're on fire, mate. Your knowledge is going out as well today,
Honestly,
Dave.
the neighbours calling the fire brigade, lad. They're going to have to put me out, man.
No, they're doing that for Tanguy for the water bottle, Dave.
Let's get through a few comments.
That previous comment, I really hope we're not searking for a new manager in the summer.
It's a good point. That's why I was going to bring this comment back up. But Drew Setis, your freeze in here. Big yourself up, mate. Kugeta's in here. Welcome on in, mate. This and that. This is the good point. Guys, let's be real. We're now going to be looking for a new manager in the summer as well. It's a possibility, isn't it, Jack? It's a possibility.
I don't know. I'd like to think that Antonio Conte is kind of too smart to kind of be tricked by Levy into anything. Maybe he actually was promised something ridiculously depressing of like no transfers in January. We're going to try to make transfers in the summer. And maybe Antonio Conte, I've gone into delusion because it's kind of like, I feel like if we think he's being lied to, then I would be surprised that he would be someone that could be lied to. It seems like he's someone that just would know if something is kind of BS or something is kind of, not possible, or like his demands actually won't be met. Just seems like somebody that would see through that. It's not like he was probably really that desperate to maybe be, still at another club. I feel like something was probably offered. Maybe he wants a project and maybe he wants to live in London. Maybe there's like something there with that. Maybe he wants to actually settle down at a club for a while. I can't give you a concrete answer because, like I said, Levy, with not investing in January so far, has really made me question like what Antonio Conte has even come here for.
And can I just add to that, lad?
No, go on.
I see people saying, he's come out and said Tottenham have promised him nothing. Let's all relax on the panic. Okay, that's fine, but let's ignore every other press conference he's done. Let's ignore the other 99% of the press conference he's done, where he said this squad is not good enough, the lack of quality, we're so far off where we want to be. Let's just ignore all of that. I mean, it's absolutely nonsense just to pick out the one out of the 99% of things he's saying. Look, we were here under Jose, or we were here under Pochettino, when Pochettino made similar quotes like Conte did back at the start of the transfer window about being a coach and not a manager. He's here to try and get the best out of what we have. He's told the board what he wants, but ultimately the board are picking the players and he's here to try and get the best out of them. Pochettino made the same quotes that summer after the Champions League final. Look what happened further down the line. Everything stopped working. He fell out with the club. He wouldn't even at times go down to the training pitch. Sacked happened. Jose Mourinho was also sitting there at times talking about the quality of the squad. What do the players that are actually at Tottenham want from themselves? He's questioned them. He's said in press conferences, I want these players, but ultimately I'm here to improve on what we have. When are people at this club going to realise what we have is not good enough? But Conte is also showing us these signs of distress. And I mean, honestly, all these reporters out there should be ashamed of themselves. I picked up on this straight away as soon as he said it. ITK1 Harris. But look, when it comes to, like, honestly, I'm fed up with it because you hear some of these people saying, relax, oh, he did say this. I'm like, yeah, but let's just play blind or let's pretend we're deaf for the other 99%, will we? It's absolutely shocking, And the thing is, another thing I'll say, Conte is not a quitter. He might not walk from Tottenham. But if we do not back him in January, right, and United, who have Wreck-It Ralph at the minute, they will be looking to appoint someone on a full-time basis. You probably have some other big clubs around Europe. You'll have another manager merry-go-round where some of the other big clubs around Europe be looking for managers. What's the first target they're coming for? Antonio Conte. Because all they have to say is, look, Antonio, come to our club. We're going to give you 150 million more chest this summer, and you have full say over what you want to do. And he's going to sit there and go, do you know what? I'm on my way, because when I sit here and think about it, am I going to give Daniel Levy another transfer window to back me when he hasn't already? No, I'm not. So I'm out here because I can't trust the guy. So then we're going to be back to looking for a new manager come the summer, a new project, and the cycle's just going to keep continuing. And that's why I always keep encouraging fans as well. I see some fans questioning Conte. Did he pick the right line up against Chelsea, this, that, and all the other bollocks? We said the same under Pochettino. We said the same under Jose Mourinho. We said the same under Nuno. Wake up. It's the squad. The managers have been telling us. Some of the players at the club have been telling us. Hugo Lloris after the Zagreb game. Højbjerg had an interview after one game. You look at Harry Kane. He wanted to go because he looked at the squad and knew it was declining. It's from every angle. Everyone that is worth respect, everyone that is a natural born winner, anyone of any quality that has been at Tottenham Hotspur have all sent us the same message. And that's why we need to get in transfers this window, because he will not walk, but he will be approached and he will go because he doesn't trust this club. At the end of the day, we're at a point now where we have someone who's a born winner, a natural leader. You need to sit there. You need to be able to back him. Let him do what he needs to do for the next 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever he's here for. Let him get the wheels back on the train. Let's all get aboard, go and win a couple of trophies, and then when he goes, someone else can come in and just build off what Conte has done. But at some stage, we're going to have to sit tight with a manager and let him do what he wants to do and let him bring in players with what he wants to bring in, within reason. I know we're not Man City. I know we're not Chelsea. There's going to be people out there saying, oh, this lad's talking bollocks. Like, we don't have that sort of money to go and spend 500-600. I'm not that deluded. But what we can do is be in and around where a Leicester are, where a Liverpool are, and what they're spending. And we're nowhere near it. And for me, that's what we need to do. You're going to have to do that under a manager. Leicester done it under Brendan Rodgers. Liverpool done it under Klopp. City done it under Guardiola when they needed to rebuild. And at some stage, we're going to have to do it. And if it's not Conte, I ask who next, because you've already had 3 out of the 5 world's best managers at this club: Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, and Conte. The only other 2 are Klopp and Pep. And if people think they're coming in here and coaching what we have, you're sadly mistaken.
Not a chance.
Upon millions to get in the squad they want, to get players in to do the job that they need. And that's a mic drop, and I'm out here.
Honestly, Dave, I don't even know where to start with that. You're completely spot on. I'm going to pick out a few parts of that and come back to you, actually, because I know you feel, obviously, like we all do, very strongly on this. You say about 3 out of 5 of the best managers in the world have been to this club. If Conte doesn't get backed, and I probably know what your answer is going to be, if Conte doesn't get backed, where next? Like, where does Levy and Enoch think they are going to invest money into the club? Or do you think they're just going to hide behind the curtain and just tick over until eventually we might sign 1 or 2 good players that might be amazing and go on to be like a bit of like a Dele Alli, where we get a cheap option and he ends up being an absolute brilliant player for a couple of seasons? Or do you think he's going to turn around and go, in the summer, actually, I will back this club?
Who, Daniel Levy, back this club in the summer? I mean, I don't trust him. Look, under Pochettino, we had 6 chances of winning the trophy: 2 leagues, a League Cup final loss, a League Cup semi-final loss. I think there was a Champions League final and an FA Cup in there as well. Each of them seasons, Liverpool were in a rebuild, United were in a rebuild, Man City were going through a rebuild. Anyone with any foresight at that club should have sat there and said, look, we have a brilliant squad here. All we need to do is add in 2 or 3 players that have been well scouted, that are hungry, that come in, and they can make an impact straight away if needed. And we would have went on and won some. And they didn't do it then. They didn't want to do it. Pochettino had to sit through windows of Clinton and G and Kevin and Kudu coming in. The only thing Kudu done is make Winks look good for another fucking game when he put a ball in the box for Winks to score a winner against Fulham in the FA Cup. You know what I mean? It's absolutely a load of crap. I don't trust them to back this manager in the summer. If they're not going to do anything now, James, in the January transfer window, when this squad, when Conte has come in, picked it up from Nuno, where we were all thinking, look, top half of the table at best. He's come in, picked it up. He's got all these player stats from the bottom of the league all the way to the top of the league, through running stats and everything else. We're up there, and he has us a chance fighting with top 4, with players, may I add, Ben Davies, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, Harry Winks, who were all only ever played a backup role under Pochettino. So even under our best squad, they were never good enough. And now he's expected to try and get top 4 with these guys without any help. He's gone out here in the summer. I'm not going to trust Daniel Levy to back him in the summer if he's not going to help him this window. I mean, let's be honest. He sacked Pochettino because top 4 didn't look likely. Daniel Levy was the one that set the top 4 remit, not fans. So he sacked Pochettino because he didn't make because top 4 wasn't likely. He sacked Jose Mourinho because top 4 in the league wasn't looking likely. You know what I mean? What's he going to do? Sack Conte because Conte can't get them to top 4. And then 3 of the world's best managers are sitting out of the 5 like I was talking about. They're all sitting, like, they all can't be bad managers. As much as
no.
Pull them apart and question their things. Let's not get mistaken. Harry Winks is not a winner. Ben Davies, Eric Dyer, Sanchez, they're not winners. Conte is a winner. He's proven it. Jose is a winner. He's proven it. Pochettino is one of the hottest property going around. Since he's left Tottenham, he's already won. He's won a French Cup with PSG. He's a proven winner. These managers have all proven. You give them the tools, they'll win you trophies. You know? So, I'm not going to sit here and ever criticize Conte and delude myself that Ben Davies and all these sort of players are going to be good enough to carry us where ideally we want to go to, which is challenging for trophies. It's never going to happen. What they can do is why they were back up under Pochettino is because they can come in for 1 or 2 games and give you a 7 out of 10 and do a decent job. But once we've had to rely on them, they've already proven to us. Even under Pochettino, when we were picking up injuries in that season we made the Champions League run, these players are not good enough to come in and do it consistently. And to get top 4, you have to be consistent. Now, the fact that Conte has us anywhere near it, if we get top 4, it's because of Antonio Conte's management, not because of the squad and because they're better.
You're spot on. And even that last point about if we do get top 4, which personally at the moment I cannot see, I think we are 2 or 3 signings away from it. But if he does do it, and miracles do happen, Man United slip up, West Ham slip up, etc., that shouldn't be seen as, oh, brilliant. Well, we're actually fine at the moment. We can continue doing what we need to do. Maybe we don't need to spend as much in the summer. No. That cannot happen. We have to continue. We have to sign players to. That's the thing. Like, this club almost, it seems like top 4 is the aim at the moment. Of course it is. But you go back 2 or 3 seasons, we were challenging for the Champions League. We were challenging for the Premier League. And all of a sudden, we're back to the standard of top 4. Okay, this happens. Clubs have their ups and downs. But if we do get top 4, we should be then pushing towards going higher than that. We shouldn't just be settling for top 4 and hoping we can sneak in every year. We should, expand on that and buy players. Jack, yeah. I'm gonna pass the buck to you because I know Dave's made some amazing points there, and I think he's probably taken all your place.
My brain's done now. I'm finished.
Have a little rest, mate. But before I do come over to Jack and ask him a couple of things on the transfer window, guys, I want to say thank you very much. We've just hit 400 subscribers, so a little milestone there. So big yourselves up. There's about 50 of you watching live now, which is incredible support. So if you are new here, please do hit that sub button. It really helps the channel out massively, so we can keep getting the great guests in that we do and keep the videos going. And if you can smash the like button as well, that also helps the YouTube algorithm and gets us seen more. So both of those guys, would be really, really appreciated. But yeah, thanks very much. Jack, what are your thoughts in terms of like who we're going to sign? And do you think, like Dave's saying, even if we do sneak into this top 4, that Levy will think, oh, okay, I don't need to back this club anymore? Or do you think it will be like, well, we need to push on? What are your thoughts from what you've seen on this board so far? Do you think they'll just settle for the top 4? Or do you think they'll continue to push on?
I think top 4 is kind of dependent on a signing, because the more I think about it, the ways we keep talking about top 4, it's like this kind of reliance on the other teams that we're competing with to continue to kind of be inconsistent. And it seems like one of these teams, either Arsenal, West Ham, Man United, whoever it else may be, they all, one of them is going to go on a big run. One of them's going to be, kind of flying form. One of them's going to have, a positive vibe going around the dressing room, and you kind of think, and it's like, doesn't really look like that would be us. And so it feels like we're just going to need to continue them kind of being inconsistent, which I feel like is kind of a false reality or a bit of a false hope. So we need to get at least, I've said this from the beginning, I think Dave and I have said this from the beginning, we need to get at least 2 signings in. I don't think 2 signings guarantees, like anything is fixed or anything, but I think that keeps our head above water in terms of going for top 4. 3 signings, I think, is ideal, but it's obviously not going to be 3 signings, but it needs to be at least 2 signings. And to be fair, actually, one of them seems to be a central midfielder, which I feel like actually was desperately needed, that people maybe won't realize, because we have 3 creative midfielders we don't actually use in Gio, Dele, Tanguy. We don't actually use them. At the end of the day, I know that they're creative sort of midfielders, but Conte just doesn't use them. He doesn't trust them. So why on earth do we have all 3 of them on the books then? We need to get them off the books and actually bring in somebody that maybe he doesn't have the skills of Ndombele or whatever, but at least he's actually of some use to Conte, and Conte would actually use him, I think, is what we need. If we get Amrabat in and we get Luis Diaz in, I think we could compete for top 4, but it needs to be 2 signings at least.
Jack, I think you're spot on. The only thing I would probably disagree with you on there, and you're very open to obviously your own opinion, but I would say if we get Luis Diaz and we get Amrabat, okay, great business. At least we've signed 2 players.
I wouldn't say that's great business, but like at least it's okay. What we need to do to keep that.
But it's a step in the right direction. What I was gonna say is, and that was my next question to you, was, do you think getting a winger and a central midfield player is going to solve our problems when actually, if you look further back, defensively recently without Dyer and Romero, we have been a joke. Tanganga's not good enough. Rodon's obviously not got the confidence to be starting under Conte, and Conte doesn't fancy him. Sanchez has a mistake in him, as we all know, and does really worry me. I even said it on your preview, Dave, didn't I? I said Sanchez will probably do something stupid today, and he was poor against Chelsea. The thing is, Sanchez can have a great game, clean sheet against Watford and scores the winner. Watford, a championship team, they're going down this season. I need Sanchez to perform in the bigger games as well. So without going off on one, my question is, do you not think we need a centre back, potentially another right wing back over these centre mids and winger options?
No, we do. I think, to be fair, the left winger kind of second striker, as much as I feel like it is kind of that luxury signing that maybe we should take a look at, that is kind of maybe worth bringing in to help out the likes of Harry Kane to be that third goal scorer, maybe when need be. But if you actually think about the almost space like sort of like holes in our squad, you would say it's probably center back, right wing back, and then central midfield. I feel like getting a center mid is really actually probably our biggest hole when I think about it. I kind of already said that with the 3 players we don't actually use. And then right wing back, you probably it's the toughest thing in the world. I think you shift on Doherty, or you easily get on some sort of other right wing back on loan or whatever. But center back, I think it's probably not a bad idea to have another big kind of Romero-like signing at center back to actually compete for Ben Davies, compete for Eric Dyer. Kind of just, I think we need to move on from Ben Davies, as good as he's been. I feel like the whole idea that he will have some sort of nailed on starting position as like our left-sided center back, like David said before, he's been here forever. We all know his limitations. It seems like we need to have probably a luxury sort of kind of signing in the center back position. I would probably say a better window would be get a center mid, get a center back, and then if you can, get a right wing back. I agree with you.
Agreed. And I think just picking up on a couple of points you've made there, the right wing back is an interesting one. I'm going to read this comment in just a second because a couple of people are mentioning Lamptey. But what you said about Ben Davies, and it's stagnant, isn't it? And I feel Ben Davies, yes, we can't say he hasn't done a good job coming in at left centre back. However, I said this when he started playing well. It's a temporary option. It's like sort of paper over the cracks option. It's get us to the end of the season, get us to January, and now we'll sign someone that's an actual centre back. Ben Davies, okay, he plays left centre back for Wales, but let's be honest, we don't really want to be going forward with Ben Davies for years to come. You know, the guy's almost got a testimonial. Let's remember that.
Some Spurs fans do, though, James. Some Spurs fans do.
But it's personally, again, everyone's open to their own opinion. I'm very all for that. But
even when it's wrong.
Exactly. But how can you say that Ben Davies is a left centre back option and our starting option for years to come? That baffles me about this fan base, that you saying, Dave, that people are saying that. It's unbelievable. Surely we want to sign some actual world-class centre backs. Ben Davies, you cannot put him in a world-class bracket, can you? Romero, you can, right? So I just don't like the fact we try and settle, yet we try and push for so many signings. We should keep pushing for these signings, and then that's when you can do the whole Levy out, Enoch out, when we don't sign them and we paper over the cracks for these temporary options. For me,
to be fair though, as well, like you're spot on, because you would rather the big signings be in areas that Conte uses a lot. And so you feel like you would want world-class center backs in order to actually
100%.
really win with Conte. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to play the way we did against Chelsea, if we actually had world-class center backs back there, you could actually feel like, yeah, maybe Chelsea won't score, against us. Maybe we could hold out. But when you see Ben Davies, Sanchez, Tanganga, you're just kind of like, good luck, trying to keep it out of the net. And I feel like then again, like I said, in center mid, Conte had world-class center mids. He's always had world-class center mids to work with. And that's another area where we should easily break the bank for. But instead, we're breaking the bank. It seems like maybe on a left wing. I'm kind of with you. It's not really the best area probably to do it for Conte.
Exactly. So Lamptey, SOF makes a very good point. Welcome in, mate. I know you're an avid watcher. He says, get Lamptey this window. Knows Conte from the Chelsea days would be a world beater under him. Why are people not talking about Lamptey? I watch Brighton quite a lot, and he is very, very good. Like, he's got a low centre of gravity. He's small. He's hard to tackle. He's almost the opposite of Adama Traore in terms of physicality, but he's so hard to stop. I saw there was that clip that went viral of him against Chelsea, and the Mexican commentator started, I don't know if you guys saw it, doing an F1 impression, going, because he's just going through the defence. You cannot tackle him. And yeah, it's not all about his attacking options. He's very good at tracking back. He's very solid, and he has to be looked at. So, Dave, what are your thoughts? Actually, I'll go to Andre, because Andre, sorry, you've been very quiet. Andre, are you a fan of Lamperty? Would you see this happening if Spurs went for him, or do you think he's just going to be valued out where he's going to be overpriced?
Well, I mean, with Tottenham, I feel every player is overpriced. But,
Good point.
but I do think he would be a good signing, and he is someone that Tottenham are keeping an eye on for the summer. This summer's window is very ambitious. We have a lot of players that Tottenham are keeping on a list but again, just like that what was said before, top 4, that's our goal. If we can offer Champions League, a lot of the players Conte has that he has in mind that he wants it'll be something they'll be open to come because we can offer them that competition. I'm pretty sure. So Lamptey was one. We're keeping an eye on Pau Torres as well. Who else? Kessié, that's another one. I think I saw in the comments some people saying.
I think Kessié will go to a bigger club.
He's already signed for Barca, no?
Yeah, I don't think it's confirmed. I don't think it's like a here we go. But I have seen that one, Dave, and even if it doesn't come off, I just see Kessié joining. I mean, Man United are screaming out for a centre midfield player. Who would you rather play for at the moment, Man United or Tottenham?
Tottenham.
Okay. Without the bias and factor of it, Man United are a bigger club than us. There's no getting around that. Is some people's absolute dream.
Yeah, but in this direct moment in time, if you were going there in this direct moment in time, you probably would be maybe a bit more hesitant than normal.
True. But I mean, overall,
it looks very toxic. It would be like you would have to.
But PSG's toxic, and some players are still going there.
PSG is kind of like a different kind of toxic, though. I think it's like the players themselves are toxic. It's not like the atmosphere is toxic or anything.
True. Very true. What do you guys think Brighton would want for Lamptey?
I feel like Lamptey. I think like what makes like Lamptey. I mean, to be honest, both of them though, like Cucurella as well as like Lamptey, are actually ridiculous to watch sometimes. Like they are kind of both like two kind of like little mosquitoes that like kind of just seem to just be able to just run all over the pitch. They do almost all the like ball progression from the looks of it as well for them. They're kind of always the guys that are kind of driving it up the pitch without really needing to lay it off or pass it. They're kind of the guys they rely on for the ball carrying. And Lamptey is quite, like you said, honestly, James, like it is really hard to take the ball off of him at times. And it's really, really difficult to kind of like figure out where he's going to go. Cause sometimes he makes that inverted kind of run where he runs into the midfield. Correct. Sometimes he's kind of he's just honestly a very attacking, like kind of fullback. I would say like, it's almost kind of like an Alphonso Davies, but miniature version, you would probably say. Kind of player the way that he just like kind of in the way that they just never lose the ball and they kind of just dice through people and just make these kind of really clever sort of runs. I would say kind of similar to Alphonso Davies, but yeah, just miniature version. I do worry about him defensively, but in an Antonio Conte system, I think he would be ridiculous. He would be incredible. Probably the 50 million is actually quite fair for the English tax, as well as him being a really good right wing back, as well as it being a Premier League team. I think 50 million is actually quite fair.
Yeah, and as we know, the English players are going to be valued even higher now because of the homegrown element and them changing the rules on that. So that obviously increases his price. I think 50 million, and we're looking at 60 million for Luis Diaz. Would you pay 50 million for Lamptey, who arguably is in a position where we need him? I mean, Clearly, Conte doesn't like Emerson. Like, clearly, Emerson was a Nuno signing. He's not really, in favour. It's almost like Doherty's starting to take that position, and that's saying an awful lot in itself. We just got to read this out. I thought it was very funny. Ben Davis saying he should start every game, and wow, chill out, lads. I don't like this slander. So, Ben, don't take things to heart. We're massively grateful for your efforts this season, but I mean, like I said, you're like the paper over the cracks. It's probably time to move on after this year. We'll give you a testimonial maybe, but I don't think you're quite there yet.
Look, Ben, 8, 1 year out of 8, one swallow doesn't make a summer. I think that's the expression. Look, I appreciate your efforts this season. Please continue it to the end of the season, but you can't excuse your last 7 years. I'm sorry.
Ben Davies is like one of those players where if you saw him go to Barca or something and they have to do the keepy uppies, you would probably see he's like one of those players you'd be worried whether he could actually do it for like the full minute. Kind of
Who was
players.
it that failed? Was that Depay? Or who was that failed doing that?
I think it was
It was
Braithwaite,
embarrassing.
maybe. Might have been like
Dem-
Braithwaite.
wasn't it Dembele maybe?
I can't remember. They tried to do like 6 keepy ups and they couldn't do it. He's saying he feels disrespected, sorry, and he's world class. Brilliant. Whoever's changed their name to that, absolutely brilliant. Spurs have 50 million to spend on Diaz. I'm sure Brighton would take that player of cash. I don't think Brighton would. The Brighton fans absolutely love Lamptey. Like, he's like their golden treasure. Rightly so. He's unbelievable. And by the way, sticking on Brighton, half their centre backs would probably go into this team as well. I mean, it's starting to get embarrassing in terms of our defence, and that's why I cannot believe we're going for wingers. But there you go. This is the get rid list no matter what. Davis, Dyer, Sanchez, Doherty, Winks, Dele, Stevie B, Lascelles, and Dombele. It's a huge list, and it's pretty accurate.
that was the old list, probably, to before until Antonio Conte came. And then a lot of those players on that list, John, have kind of gotten, a lot of second chances for a lot of fans. That was certainly, though, before Antonio Conte, that was my list, if not.
I would say it's the same for me other than Dyer and Winks. I still think, Sanchez.
But like before Conte came, would you have really said that?
Before Conte came, that was the list, wasn't it? The list was about 10 players. So.
Which I think is kind of a huge point, is Antonio Conte is getting the best out of players that a lot of them have completely given up on. Like, we had completely given up on those players. And Antonio Conte is Lazarus them kind of back into like Spurs' kind of hearts, it feels like. And I think that says a lot probably about the guy.
Yeah. Kugeta makes a good point. Conte's gone from having Barella, Brozovic, and Eriksen to skip Højbjerg and Winks. When you put it on paper like that, it's a shambles. But the only thing I would say about that is, he turned Ashley Young into a world-class player. He turned, who else did he play right wing back for Inter Milan? He turned, who was it? Ashley Young, Victor Moses, the other side. So he is turning these players. But that shouldn't be excused. Just because he turns average players better doesn't mean we shouldn't invest. Like... Kyle Walker-Peters making us look like fools this season. Why does talent always shine when they leave us? Because they're playing for Spurs, and at the end of the day, we know there's problems in that dressing room. Maybe not so much as there used to be, but certainly at the end of the Poch era, there was proper problems, and that's why Trippier ended up going out. Guys, we'll come on to that in a minute, the Trippier comments. I don't know if you guys saw them, but they were very interesting points. I'll go through these comments, and then we'll go on to that. My ideal Spurs team is Lloris, Lamptey, Skriniar, De Vrij, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Skip, Diaz, Son, Kane, Dybala. I mean, if we ever see that team, then wow. But Kyle Walker-Peters is still rubbish. I don't think he is. I think he's a good player.
Look, let's be honest though. He was useless in a Spurs jersey. I mean, Southampton are like a few rungs down the ladder compared to us. And I'll be honest with you. I get what Kane the long shot is saying when it comes to him. But when players leave Tottenham, once they haven't performed for Tottenham, I couldn't really care less what they do at other clubs. I really couldn't. The thing is, they've come to Tottenham, big club like Tottenham, proving that they couldn't deal with the pressure. So, I mean, I don't care what they do at other clubs, to be honest with you. Just quickly with Lamptey, one player that I probably would be looking at as an alternative to Lamptey, who I actually highly rate, and he's actually at Southampton, is Livramento.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah, he's good.
Good shout, Dave. Good shout. You're on fire tonight, mate. I know you're normally on fire, but you're even more on fire. I don't know what you've had today, like what foods or anything, but
you know what it was, lad? I think it was the strawberry smoothie I had earlier on instead of a can of Coke, man.
A bit of nutrients in your brain.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Born to Lose says, if we were a serious club and really wanted to make a statement with a quality signing, who would massively improve us? We should have gone all out for Barella, worked with Conte before, total baller. Absolutely, I'd take Barella in a heartbeat. Absolutely in a heartbeat. Brozovic, these kind of players work unbelievably in a Conte system, as we know. Why are you talking about Lamptey's rubbish compared to me, Ben? Ben, you got to stop, Ben. Not a Spurs fan, but I'm a huge Conte fan. If Tottenham, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Conte fans, and unfortunately, Levy apparently isn't one because he's got his man in and he hasn't backed him. Barca fan TV, hey lads, can't believe you lot didn't get Adama, but it seemed like the moment we entered the battle, there was no other way around it for Adama returning home. Keep up the work. You too, man. appreciate you stopping by for the Barca opinion. If you're still in here, let us know how you think Adama will get on, because we weren't too sure. Obviously, he'll play a different position for you guys, more further forward. But I don't know how he would have done it right wing back. I still had my doubts over it, but there we go. Thank God you got Adama. He's no end product. Keep him. John, you're off on one, mate.
Just some breaking news. The Ndombele deal looks like it's more or less agreed that he's on his way out to PSG.
Wow.
PSG covering 100% of his wages on loan with an option to buy. Can't tell you my sauce. I can't.
He can't tell you his sauce. We might have to get him in on SpursRelated on the old Instagram post. This guy is breaking news left, right, and centre. Andre
Romano's cousin. He has an Irish cousin in Italy. Romano. David does.
Okay.
Paper over the cracks. So Barca Fan TV saying Dembele. He's got no end product. John is very persistent on this one. We are far more desperate for a centre mid than a centre back. It's not like we're getting beat 3 or 4. We just can't control the games in the midfield. What are your thoughts on that, Jack? Do you think it is a centre mid we need or a centre back? Yeah. Or probably the obvious answer is both. But what do you think we need as a priority?
When I was answering earlier, I definitely was thinking about 2 signings, and I kind of see the argument about the center back. I really do understand it, especially when you kind of originally probably thought that maybe Tanganga could be kind of relied upon, but now he just can't. And then Joe Rodon just seems to not really be favored by any manager by the looks of it, which I don't know what that says. But yeah, I think I could see why people would be kind of really concerned about the center back situation. I've been kind of, for probably the entire time, I think even before this window, was kind of most concerned about the central midfield, just because they're, again, even before Conte, like Nuno wasn't really getting the best out of Gio. He wasn't getting the best out of Dele. He wasn't getting the best out of Tanguy. We kind of saw the same thing with, Jose at one stage. We're kind of seeing the same thing under Antonio Conte. Those 3 guys have just continued to be kind of useless to every manager. And so when I do think about it, that then leaves you basically with Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks, to do all of the midfield work, to basically be every type of midfielder. And that kind of makes you think, wow, we probably need a lot of midfielders that actually the manager wants to use. And so personally, I'm kind of with John. I think I would probably spend, if I were to spend my 60 million, my Luis Diaz sort of money, if I were to spend it, it would be in kind of center mid kind of sort of areas. I think the Guimaraes kind of deal that we're missing out on for 40 million is still going to be like the biggest deal that we missed out on. For 40 million, I mean, we easily could have paid that, considering we're looking at Diaz for the same price that we apparently bid for.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, yeah, that's the annoying one, isn't it? Like you said, and he's gone to Newcastle as well, because he's going to be in a relegation battle straight away. That kind of player shouldn't be in that. But I mean,
I think our club would have been the right step for him as well.
Yeah,
he would have probably gone right into the starting 11, but there would have been a bit of pressure to actually, perform, with better players around him. Newcastle, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of just shocked we didn't make some sort of bid, especially if he is going to be going for 40 million. That's absurd, because that's exactly what I thought he would probably go for. You kind of usually undervalue maybe what they actually would pay. And the fact that he is going for 40 million with Newcastle, who probably overpay anyways, you kind of think like, geez, real one that we missed out on.
Yeah, spot on. Dave, did you have anything to add on that?
No, just to be fair to Jack, I mean, Jack's been saying this about a while about this Guimaraes kid, and he's been saying it all window that's achievable. You put in about 35 to 40 million, he will come.
He's right, yeah.
And I mean, if Jack Kineke knows it, why doesn't someone inside Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah, they must have so many analysis. They must have they've got Fabio Paratici. He's a managing director. He's got the best team around him to advise who to, push the deals on. He's spot on. Jack, maybe you need to put your resume into Hotspur way.
Maybe they're trying to make. Supposedly, they're trying to make the scouts like a lot younger and a lot, kind of more kind of behind the computer. So who knows? Maybe maybe they'll look one day. Maybe
it's a future career, mate. Why not? Stefan says, "Big up, guys. Anyway, you replaced the mainstream Sky Sports News on my TV. Comments like that make my day. Honestly, that's brilliant. But I get bored watching Sky Sports News. I can't even lie. Like, with all due respect, I I watched it for years on end. It's just the same stale thing, and I don't think they're the best news source anyway. I think a lot of people will find out. So yeah, come and join us on Spurs Related more, mate. Pleasure to have you on here, and obviously go and check out Irish Hotspur. I'm sure you come from there anyway. Barca Fan TV says, for me, it's a clever loan deal from Barca, very low risk and potential high reward. If ADAMA can help us qualify for the Champions League, then it's more than worth it, especially with Dembele leaving. Where's Dembele going, guys?
The Dembele from Lyon.
Yeah, no, Dembele.
Barca.
Oh,
was he going?
Dembele. Yeah. I'm not actually sure, to be fair. I know he's having some weird situation over there where I think he is being basically forced out. But I'm not sure if there are any takers.
I don't know. I'm looking here.
I've heard about it that he is leaving, but I haven't heard about any takers.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything at the moment. I don't know. But what I will say is this, the state of our club right now, Barcelona are paying double what Tottenham were willing to pay for ADAMA. Because we put in a $15 million bid, right? And that's it. We didn't want to go any higher. 18 maybe. But we didn't even want to give the 20. And then Barcelona came in, offered 30 with a loan, and that was it.
To be fair, though, I would say, like, with ADAMA, I did a video on it. Like, would I take ADAMA for 20 million? I kind of broke down, like, is he actually worth 20 million? And I kind of said, sort of. If it did go any higher than 20 million, 22 million, I think it's like the ceiling, I probably wouldn't have paid it, actually, to be fair to Daniel Levy. I feel like you are kind of overpaying for him. For, like, 30 million, you're really overpaying for ADAMA, in my belief. Yeah. I think, like, if we got him in for, like, that 20 million, that actually, to me, was, like, not actually that much money when you think about, like, the grand scheme of things of, like, all transfers. And potentially you're getting in, like, a really unique player. Of course, he's limited, but a very unique player. And for 20 million, you're like, kind of good deal, actually. 30 million, not a deal. I would say definitely not worth it.
You say that, Jack, but, like, we're talking about 60 million for Luis Diaz, and 30 million would only be half of that. And like you said, Adama Traore is so unique in terms of no one in world football, well, very few players in world football have that strength, have that power, have that pace. Yes, that doesn't make a footballer. You know, you could put you could put Usain Bolt on the wing and, you know, things wouldn't be brilliant. But what I'm saying is, you know, if someone can work on his end product, it's Conte. And if it's Conte. So if you asked me a month ago when we started to be linked with this guy about Adama Traore, I would have said, no, please, no. You know, don't get him in. But the fact that I've seen him go to Barcelona for, is it 25 million pounds or 25 million euros? That for me is such a missed opportunity. I think we will go to regret that, because even if Adama Traore stays for 1 to 2 years at Barcelona and moves on, you know, he can still kick on from that. But at Wolves, he was a bit of a dead end. At Spurs, you're talking about developing a player and make him into a new position, you know, maybe because he's not brilliant at attacking. He's not, you know, got that end product in goals and assists. You know, 36 games, 2 goals, 2 assists last year. It's poor. But if you turn him into a right wing back, you've got a different player. You're utilising his assets. You got pace, power. Maybe he's not the best at defending, but neither are some of our other right wing backs. You know, Doherty doesn't even know how to make a tackle. So I would have taken the punt on him at £25 million.
I feel like with 25 million, if I had that much money to spend, I feel like it wouldn't really do me very much harm. I think that's always kind of the whole story with Levy. Like, how much does that extra 2 million like really hurt us at the end of the day? But for me, I feel like 25 million, you actually still are kind of overpaying, because I feel like you can then just go after maybe an actual right wing back, because we were going to move him in as sort of a right wing back / right winger, I guess, when need be. And we kind of don't know about the end product. At the end of the day, we just don't know. So if you're spending 25 million, I'd probably rather just sign like some right wing back from Italy or somebody that we know that like Antonio Conte actually would use, or, you know, whatever.
Okay.
For me,
just considering also Adama, he is from the youth academy of Barcelona. So let's say Barcelona started bidding around the same time as us. Probably he made it clear maybe that he does want to go to Barcelona. He probably said he wanted to go to Spurs, but maybe he actually also said, I do want to go to Barca more.
For just for me quickly, look, in terms of this season, I think it was a missed opportunity, because you look at some of the teams we still have to go and play away. Man City, you have Man United there to play away. We still have Liverpool to play. You know, against them teams, he would have been a unique player for us to have, because when we can't pass our way into the final third, or when we do, what he can do is single-handedly get you into their final third. You know, he already gets you up the pitch. And for me, the reason why I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity as well, because if you got him for 20, 25 million, he's going to hold his value. You're going to sell him for that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if he's not a part of your plans in the summer, you're still going to sell him for that.
That's the point I was trying to make, Dave. Sorry to interrupt. You're making a very good point. That's what I was trying to say is if he even stays at Barca for 1 to 2 years, it's not like he's going to suddenly be £8 million. He's still going to be around that £20 million mark. And even if they lose 5 million on him, it's still worth the hit for Barcelona. I mean, they're absolutely crippled financially anyway. So this is a great deal for them. But it would have, that's just what I'm saying, it would have been a great deal for us because he would have held his value. And Dave, you know, sorry to steal your thunder there, but this is exactly what I was trying to say. And when people say, "Oh, I didn't want ADAMA anyway, he hasn't got the end product," that's why you try and make a player into something different. And the fact he could come off the bench as a right wing back, or start as a right wing back, or come on as a right winger and cause problems when we need to press for a goal, he is the guy to come on the pitch and run up that line, and no one can tackle him. You get the ball up the pitch, even if you get a throw in or a corner, you're more likely to score. When we start pissing about with it at the back, passing it around the back, and like maybe making a few passes, Winks will make a few sideways ones in midfield to Højbjerg, like that's not how we're going to win a game if we're losing. We need to get players that are dangerous, that are going to run with the ball and get the ball up the pitch.
You need that direct option, don't you? Like,
exactly.
You know, you have to, it's that direct option. Look, in terms of right wing back, I'm not 100% sure he would have worked out, to be honest with you. But like one thing you did say there is that he can directly just get the ball and take it down the line, which is what we don't have. You look at Doherty, he constantly wants to pass inside. You don't have anyone that can just pick up the ball and just go for it and be direct. But what he would have also done is probably opened up more space for Kane and Son, because they would have had 3 players to think about rather than just the 2. Because with the 2, you can kind of put more bodies on the side there on and kind of block it up. But when you have ADAMA there, they can't leave that open. So you're spreading that defense then as well. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care that he's gone to Barca, but as well, I do see that as a missed opportunity in terms of the next, the rest of this season. In terms of for the future, I don't really see it as a missed opportunity. But for the rest of this season, to help this squad to try and achieve top 4, I think it's a missed opportunity, if you get me.
No, spot on. And for me, like, I go back to the point, like, even if you did sign him and we weren't too sure on this end product, or we weren't too sure what he can provide, we know what he can do, so use it and try it. I mean, Conte's the man for that. But even if he doesn't work, this is the problem with Spurs. We hold on for players for too long. We hold on for Lo Celso for 2 or 3 years too many. We hold on for Ndombele for a year too many. We held on for Dele Alli for about 4 years. Well, not 4 years, but 2 or 3 years too many. That's the thing. If ADAMA signed and didn't do very well, you know, you sell him in 2 or 3 windows time, not 8 windows time. And that's the problem at the club. We hang on to dead wood for too long. We're Deadwood FC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the Lukaku situation. They brought him in to Inter, and then he became a like 100 million plus transfer deal. Like, Inter made their money. At the same time, here's another example. Vlahovic over the summer, we were offering what, 35, 40, I think, and now he's gone to Juve for about 75. So that's almost double. So once again, we're undervaluing players by half of what they're actually going for. I also think, by the way, I saw a comment there about Brian Hill, and Valencia, I think, are waiting on Tottenham to see what he says, what they say on loaning him out. Now, I think if he gets loaned out, I feel like that would be very much related to Luis Diaz coming in, no?
Spot on. Yeah, 100%. He won't go anywhere. If Luis Diaz comes in, you still see the Bergwijn to Ajax deal. I think that's dead in the water, I'll be honest with you. I think Bergwijn stays until the end of the season. I think if Diaz happens, Gil gets loaned out. If Gil doesn't get loaned out, then you can take it that Diaz isn't going to Tottenham Hotspur.
Very good point. And that's what I mean. That's what you said right at the start, wasn't it, Andre? The transfers in are hinged on the transfers out. And why are we leaving it to the 27th of January without getting angry again baffles me, because it's not a surprise when the January transfer window comes in. And do you know what the thing that's annoyed me the most about this transfer window? Just very quickly. Not Adama, the fact we missed out on Adama Traore, not the fact that we might miss out on Luis Diaz or whatever it may be. The thing that's annoyed me the most is the fact that Levy apparently went out to the Bahamas midway through the transfer window or 1 week in to discuss how much he's got to spend. Why is that not being discussed in November and December?
James, I don't mean to get you fired up or anything, but I believe Paratici's also in Italy this week.
So what's he doing there? What is this board? What is this management doing that it's almost like they're dodging doing their homework. It's like
it feels
they
like
know the big deadline's coming in, right? And they're like, oh, let's go on holiday. Like, it's shocking.
They're winging it. They're just they're like, oh, we got 5 days left. We got to build up some hype. Who do we have? Do we have anything? Okay, let's get this guy.
It comes down to the business model we operate under, right? We don't want to sign anyone until we get rid of players, okay? And it's outdated. Clubs don't do that anymore. They bring in the assets, they improve the squad, and then they get rid of the players that they deem not good enough, you know? But at Tottenham, we want to get rid of the players before we buy, and that's why you're always going to see things left late at Tottenham Hotspur to the last minute window, because we're relying on other clubs to come in for our players before we even get moving. Now, if we operated the other way, you could have done deals like other clubs have done. Look, I'm not one of these people who really care what Aston Villa done, where they got in Coutinho and stuff like that. You know, I don't care. But my point is you would have seen us act earlier in this window like them clubs if we operated under a different business model, if we weren't so stringent on the numbers, on the wage bill, you know what I mean, and everything else. If there was more flexibility in that business model where sometimes, and what I would call it is calculated risk. You look at the squad, you look at the window, and you're like, okay, this window, we have to go and buy before we sell. If we don't sell, not an end of the problem. Then come the summer or whatever, come the next window, we do it as a sell before you buy. And it's just having that flexibility in the business model. But we don't want to do that. We want to solely stick within the numbers, make sure we're always in the profit. You know what I mean? So, and this is what's killing this club. It hasn't moved on. You see all other clubs now. The business models have changed. They will buy. They don't care what they already have. They will buy, and then they'll deal with it after that. They'll get players out. Because, you know, we always sit here and make that excuse, but we have a 25-man squad. So what? You don't see what the thing is. Once you bring in players and you make that 27-man squad, and you make it known to two players that they're no longer part of your plans, when they're sitting there with a prospect of not playing football for a whole year or whatever it may be, and they know that, they're not going to hang around because they're on money. They're going to leave because they know they have no chance whatsoever. There's 2 spots taken up. They're not going to take that risk. But we don't want to operate like that. We want to operate the other way around, and that's why you're seeing players in no rush to get out here because they're on the big money. Whereas if we brought in players and made them knew they were surplus to requirements and that they were going to be number 26, 27, and 28 on the roster, they'd be out here like a hot cake. Trust me, they'd be out here like a hot shot. It's the business model that is failing us right now. It was good, and it got us to the point of getting the stadium and the training complex. Thank you very much. But now's the time to sit down, re-strategize, re-look at the business model. You've got everything else in place to become a big club. So what you need to do now is become flexible, like I said. You can rotate in windows, sign players, get rid, and then the next window you can say, right, well, we're not getting anyone else until we get rid. But just be flexible. That's all. And you'd have a much better Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, honestly, just get me in to solve the problems. The more that I think of it, and I'm sitting here talking more sense and logic, the more it's pissing me off, because it's like, if I can do this job, and I'm sitting here on a YouTube channel, and what the fuck are them guys doing when they're being paid 60, 70K, 100K a year? Jesus Christ.
More. I'm sure they're on more than that. I'm sure Paratici's on more than that.
Another mic drop moment. Clip that one as well. That's 2 off this show.
Yeah. We get you a little highlights reel from this episode, Dave. I know you want one. But no, just picking up on what you said there, Dave, I'm coming back to you. I know you're all fired up now. But in all seriousness, it comes back to this Trippier interview. Now, I don't know if you guys saw it, and I know a lot of the people in the chat would have seen it. Trippier came out and said, you can ask any Spurs player, you know, why did they sell Moussa Dembele? He didn't get replaced, or not quite those words, but it was leading to basically hinting to say, you know, the club was in disarray. Levy wasn't, you know, pushing the club in the right direction. Go back to 2019 where we sold Moussa Dembele to, who was it? Guangzhou RNF in the Chinese league, right? Okay, he went for money. Yeah, I don't even know. The guy might have even retired now. I don't even know. But the point is, he was still absolute mustard. And it goes back to what you're saying about this model of, okay, we'll sell this player and we'll hope to get him in the coming weeks. Well, we know that never happens because guess what? We're in 2022 now. Wakey, Levy. We still haven't really replaced Moussa Dembele. The closest thing we replaced him with is Højbjerg, and he's a different player. He's not a Moussa Dembele. So we still haven't replaced Moussa Dembele. And for me, that would be a Kessié. And
But do you know what, though, James? Just quickly, to ever think we were going to replace Moussa Dembele with one player is naivety. It was never going to happen. The guy had all-round ability. He was silk on the ball.
Yeah, they don't grow on trees.
He could run through a team if he wanted to. He can pass and move. He had everything. You were always going to have to shell out on 2 players. And why didn't the club do that? Why didn't they foresee this coming?
But we didn't buy anyone. That's what I'm trying to say. I know what you're saying. We can never replace like for like Moussa Dembele. I get that. He's an absolute, for me, he's a legend. He's one of a kind player. And all the players used to say he was the best player in that team. Yeah. All of them. Over Harry Kane, over Dele Alli at his time, over Son. They used to say Moussa Dembele was the best player at that club. And that just tells you everything you need to know. But like you said, why aren't we signing 2 players to try and even replace that? We didn't. I mean, like I said, I would say Højbjerg is the like-for-like comparison at a push, and we signed him 2 years after.
Højbjerg was Wanyama's replacement. Let's get this right.
Wanyama's.
You look at the playing style. That's a Wanyama replacement. That's not a Dembele replacement. Nowhere near it. You look at Højbjerg and Wanyama, what they offer. They're very sort of similar. They're ball winners. They'll win the ball and they'll try and progress it with their passing, or they can carry it if needs be. But the reason why Højbjerg and a lot of people are rating him average right now is because you don't have someone who's supposed to complement them skills. I mean, Wanyama had Dembele to complement what he didn't have. And whatever Dembele, maybe the 1 or 2 things that maybe he lacked, that I don't even know what they are, but Wanyama complemented him. But right now, we have 2 midfielders that are the same in Højbjerg and Skip. Winks isn't complementing them. Let's be honest. I mean, look, he may be complimenting in their hair and that they smell good like he did with Jack Grealish when we played him that time, but he's definitely not complimenting them on the football pitch in terms of football sense.
Yeah, spot on. This comment from SOF. Van Dijk went to Liverpool in Jan. Bruno went to United in Jan. Both had a massive impact, and I think he has to do that. Chelsea too. What's that, sorry?
Pulisic to Chelsea happened in the January transfer window as well, if I'm correct.
Correct. So, yeah, it's a good point. So we know that January transfers can be unbelievable. I mean, Van Dijk,
could he be our Bruno is basically the question. Yeah.
It is a great question. And I've seen the stuff that Luis Diaz can do. I'm not going to start pretending. I mean, Jack, you'll probably know him much more than me. But, the clips that I have seen, I know, YouTube can make anyone look good. But the one that stands out for me is that one clip against Man City in the Champions League where he's run around about 7 players and stuck it past Ederson in goal, right into the left corner. Yes, okay, all players can have a solo effort. But that, for me, showed that he offers something different and what Spurs need. A bit like we're going back to the whole driving the ball down the pitch, offering an attacking option, but we don't have at the moment. Like the best option we have off the bench in terms of attack is Bergwijn or Bryan Hill. Now, for me, that doesn't fill me with loads of confidence. I know Bergwijn's the talk at the moment, at this very moment in time, but Bergwijn hasn't done anything for 2 years.
No, they're not goal scorers coming off. They're not somebody that can bring actually the ball in the back of the net at the end of the day.
This guy is top scorer in the Portuguese league right now. Top scorer.
He's dominating it. And to be fair, I said this on my kind of breakdown of him, and then I also saw a Euro expert kind of say the exact same words, which I think makes Diaz kind of interesting. He said, and I think as well as I said, that he runs just as fast with the ball at his feet as he does kind of without it. And that's kind of very and I think he made a really good comparison to Sadio Mane, I think it was, in that kind of regard. Or maybe someone else did, but I think that's what makes him actually kind of unique as a player, is that he does actually run with a lot of power and pace with the ball at his feet, kind of similar to someone like Sadio Mane, kind of like Leroy Sané to a degree kind of does as well, kind of just runs almost kind of with just so much speed that it's actually kind of powerful to a degree. I would say as well, I mean, if you see from the highlights, as well as just from his days in the Champions League this season, the guy really does actually bury it when he gets that opportunity. He will hit an absolute screamer.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're spot on. And this is what...
He could be our Bruno. I mean, he could be our Bruno. Do I see it happening? Like the actual deal happening? I'm not sure. Like I really am not sure. But to be fair, like we need a Bruno signing could actually be that weird disguise of like, even though we didn't get upgrades in the right position, let's say you do sign a third goal scorer, that could maybe like disguise a lot of problems with our squad. Maybe when you think about it, kind of like what it did with Man United when they signed Bruno, like it disguised a lot of problems I think that they had.
Yeah, exactly. One player can change a season. You know,
especially
like,
a goal scorer can.
Absolutely. Andre, anything to say on the situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with Jack. And I also think that, I don't know if you guys have seen it or you guys in the chat have seen Luis Diaz's goal against Brazil, the bicycle kick that he made. Oh my God, it is absolutely disgusting. It is such a good goal. And once you add that plus the solo run that James is talking about, he has a lot of potential. And I'd be very excited if he came in. And just for a consensus here, if we got Ndombele off to PSG and we brought in Luis Diaz and Amrabat, what would you rate that out of 10 for the window?
Got out in Ndombele, got in Amrabat and Luis Diaz, and no one else.
And that's it, yeah.
Seven out of 10. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that is 7 out of 10.
Yeah, do you know, I'd be going with a 7 out of 10 because Luis Diaz is going to be one that's going to be snapped up in the summer. I think getting the deal done early is wise. Amrabat coming in. I mean, honestly, you know, if we sign Jack Kineke, I'd be out there with party poppers and you know, going absolutely wild. Honestly, I'd be calling him Jack Kinikelenko and everything else, you know, giving him the nicknames because he's going to offer more than what Ndombele does. Ndombele's offering me nothing but stress, you know, high blood pressure, and that's it. So, I mean, you know, I'd take anybody than Ndombele, so I'm willing to give Amrabat a chance. I mean, if players are coming to Tottenham, let's not put them down before they've already got here.
Yeah. No, I agree too. I would give it an extra half, so 7.5, just because at the end, for me, that extra half is just the fact that these are Conte players. These are players that Conte wants that you brought in, and I personally, if they come in, I'd be very excited to see what they're going to do because he's bringing them in because he knows that they're going to fit his system.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see anyone at this rate. I actually would. I'd be excited to see anyone, and I'm happy we got rid of Ndombele for the loan. Is it a loan to buy?
Loan to buy. Yeah.
I'm happy we've done that because that, as we said at the very start of this podcast and this video, that is what we needed to do: offload. And now we can. Now there is no excuse. The wages have been lifted of £200,000 a week.
Yeah, that's what, like, one of that shares almost as much as Kane, right? That's like top billing.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So there's no excuse why we can't afford a player for his wages now. So the only blocker that's stopping us is if Levy and Enoch want to reach out a few £1 million and pay for Luis Diaz, because I think personal agreements were well underway. It's just a valuation. So
yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about it, right, 35 to 40 million bid that we made was rejected. You add the 15-20 million bid that we didn't do on Traore, and you add that to the Luis Diaz deal, and you got about 55-60 million right there. Get it done, please.
One thing I will say to Spurs is I wouldn't be writing this Luis Diaz deal off as a smokescreen just yet, because he is. I just think once you see Ndombele go out, I do think you'll probably see this deal ramp up a little bit, and I probably think the only thing that maybe I will say might prolong this by another day or two is the fact that he's 20% ownership by some third-party company, just kind of like Carlos Tevez did. That could be one complication to this deal, and that's what might drag it on a little bit longer. But I wouldn't write it off yet. Look, I know we've been here before when it comes to Bruno Fernandes and players like that, where we've been a few million off and I have never really done enough to close that gap, and get the deal over the line. But I don't know. We got the Romero one done. Everyone put a note to that. We ain't getting him. We're not getting it done. And that one dragged on for quite a while. But we got it done.
Yeah, we did.
Said, you know what? And all them other ones, let's remember, they were under Steve Hitch and all them other examples. But the latest one we've had on the Paratici and the Romero deal, he got it done. So I would say maybe hold out, have a little bit of faith that this man can get these sort of deals over the line.
Yeah.
Very good point. Andre, you better be hot on that news tomorrow, mate. It sounds like it's
yeah.
heating up from Dave's. You know, I can feel it. Dave's giving me that belief that we're going to sign him. And what a fool I am, and what a fool we all are, guys. But in all seriousness, guys, we'll obviously keep you up to date on that. So go follow SpursRelated on all socials. Without further ado, please, if you're not from the Flat Cap Army, I know a lot of you are. There's 60 of you watching right now on YouTube. It's phenomenal numbers today. Please, just drop a thumbs up, a like button, and a subscription. Guys, we gained about 20 subs just tonight. It's incredible support. It really is. But without talking too much about this channel, like I said, if you're not part of the Flat Cap Army, go and check out Dave and Jack's channel on the Irish Hotspur. These guys are on nearly 6K subs, I believe. They're live pretty much every night, every other night. They produce unbelievable content. It's got a great community going. Dave, without me stealing your thunder again, please just tell these guys why they should get over to your channel.
No, look, first of all, I want to let Jack plug the Flat Cap channel first, because I know once we kind of come to plug-in time, the numbers kind of drop a little bit. I want to let Jack take the good time.
Yes, do it.
There are a few different kind of Romero-like foreheads. People gotta, they gotta headbutt. This subscription, please hit that big red button down below, please. Honestly, really do like coming on here, talking with James and Andre. Nice kind of vibes all the time. And I feel like we actually all kind of have our own little kind of mic drop kind of rant moments. So if you are into that, definitely hit the big forehead down here. But as well, if people kind of want to get to know a bit more of the players that maybe are heading over to Spurs, I'll be covering that. I did kind of a big kind of a stats breakdown on Luis Diaz. I think if it actually does get confirmed, maybe David and I will do a bit of a highlight reaction kind of thing together. But I do want to wait till it's actually confirmed on that. But I did a really, really in-depth sort of thing on Luis Diaz, kind of breaking down what he actually could bring to Spurs. Did the same thing with Sofiane Amrabat. Kind of just discuss like what he actually is, what he actually could do for Conte, why I actually think it isn't the worst move at the end of the day, and lots of other videos like that. If you do want to talk about kind of fixing Spurs and kind of getting the right sort of players in to fix all of our problems, head on over to that channel, please.
Please do it, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Jack reviews some of the players that I have not even heard much about. So I think the one that I was really impressed with, it was a couple of months ago, was Cody Gakpo from PSV. I probably said that wrong. Yeah, I love that guy. And I'd not heard much about him, and Jack really did produce an amazing analysis on him. And obviously, that's just one of the examples that he does, guys. So get over to there if you want to find out more about those European players that Spurs are potentially linked with. Dave, your turn.
Yeah, look, if you think, first of all, this show should have actually come with some warnings today. There were so many truth bombs dropped. It was unbelievable. So, it should really come with warnings. But, yeah, look, if you've enjoyed what I've had to offer to the show today, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. I would say one of the quickest growing Spurs channels there is out there. Big hunt for 6K is on. Let's see if we can do it. But, look, most importantly, I have to say, I actually think this is one of the most underrated Spurs channels, or one of the most underappreciated Spurs channels out there. And anytime I've come on, and I know for a fact anytime Jack has come on, we've always had a ball. It's always been a good conversation with a little bit of a giggle thrown in between. So if that is your sort of content, make sure you smash the subscribe button here. And anyone of the Harris Army that is in here that hasn't smashed the subscribe button here, smash it, guys, because honestly, I'm telling you now, one of the most undervalued and underappreciated Spurs channels in the business, but have one of the best social medias out of any of the channels I've ever seen. So smash it.
No, I really, really appreciate the kind words, Dave. You're making me blush, mate. But no, in all seriousness, what the guy said, get over to the Irish Hotspur. Jack, get over to Jack's channel, the Flat Cap Euro Talk. Subscribe to us, like the video, and guys, honestly, massive shout out to you guys. Really sorry if I didn't get through all your comments because I'm not used to that kind of support. But yeah, guys, have a great evening. Let's hope we get these deals over the line, and we'll see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.